The New York Mets are suffering a cataclysmic collapse right now, everybody, and it is leaving the door open for some drama in the National League. What's up, everybody, and welcome back to Bad for Baseball, the baddest baseball podcast on the internet. I'm your host, Nicholas Playlog, joined alongside by Adam Peddle. Today, we are talking about those New York Mets again because they are still falling apart, and now it is even more, I guess, just dramatic in its own right, because they're only
2 weeks left.
2 weeks left.
And they're a game and a half above the
Diamondbacks.
And I learned today the Diamondbacks do have the tiebreaker against those Mets. They're 3-3 on the season, but then the second tiebreaker is, what are you against your own division? The Mets are 23-23. The Diamondbacks are 24-20. So I think, even though they do got a couple more divisional games to go, I don't think it's going to be enough for them to dramatically shift. So the Diamondbacks, as it stands right now, if they are going to be trying to compete, and they probably are going to win those divisional games and are going to be taking over the Mets. So it's making Mets fans sweat right now. It is really, really tough.
Yeah, no, it's not a good look. Definitely not a good spot for a team that has, $300+ million on the payroll? No, not where you want to be sitting right now.
Yeah.
Looking over at the division, or I guess just the wild card in general right here, New York Mets, they're 2-8. in their last 10 right now. They just were capable of snapping an 8-game losing streak. It was rough sledding for a while there. Texas was taking them. Phillies took them for a ride. Cincinnati Reds were the ones that started it. But now they're going to have the Padres, who are a playoff team coming up. So I don't know if you're going to really be able to be building that much momentum if you're the New York Mets. And frankly, I mean, okay, yeah, the Nationals aren't great and the Marlins aren't great. Cubs are very, very good. But it really doesn't matter who you're up against when you're playing just as the New York Mets are playing.
Yeah, they're playing really awful right now. The pitching has been something to be awed upon. It is really struggling. They are, since the All-Star break, 6th in baseball in worst ERA, 4.86 ERA as a team, and they also have collected the 5th most losses. And I brought this up before. I'll bring it up again. I mean, if you Mets fans are coming back, you've already seen this podcast, you will know what I've said, where their pitching staff has been built off of a lot of hope, where you bring in Clay Holmes, and Clay Holmes has been good since coming into the rotation. He's been .375. You bring in Dave Peterson last year, and he's been having a little bit of a step back here, but still very solid. But then after that, after all the injuries, you got Jonah Tong.
These are all prospects.
All prospects. Sproat's been good. McLean's been good. We just talked about this last week. But again, you're a lot of hope, a lot of things you're banking on in this rotation right now to turn all around. A lot of young dudes with not a lot of experience.
Yeah, and first thing, they got to make it to the postseason. Yeah. I certainly don't know how this rotation's going to play once you get to the postseason, if you get to the postseason. But, I mean, that's the big if at this current juncture of time, because it's just not working right now for them. And when you are only a game and a half above the Arizona Diamondbacks, I don't know how I feel about it at this current juncture. Now, the one positive thing for them is that when you're looking at the strengths of schedule for some of these other squads, right, Arizona and the Giants and everything like that, it is certainly a little bit more difficult. This is Arizona's right here. They're going to have the Giants for 2 more games, so I get that
big series.
That is a big series, because if the Giants were to win the final 2, now maybe New York is looking at the Giants as being a big threat. If Arizona was to continue to win and win this series and potentially even sweep the Giants, that's going to be big problems for the New York Mets for certain. But then you got the Phillies, the Dodgers, and the San Diego Padres. So just literally everybody who is good in the National League. However, again, I mean, we can compare strengths of schedules, until we're fucking blue in the face. If the New York Mets aren't playing good ball, none of this matters.
Yeah, it really doesn't, And honestly, that's another thing I want to bring up in this podcast. They're playing so bad in the second half. They're just falling apart. Even if you make the postseason, you gotta turn it around really quick,
they feel like a one and done for me.
It feels like a one and done, and that's really upsetting when you got Juan Soto actually bouncing back and having a 30-30 season. So congratulations to Juan Soto. But yeah, this doesn't instill me with any sort of confidence. And in fact, I would be way more confident if the Arizona Diamondbacks were to go through this type of schedule, take over that wildcard spot. I'd be confident they would go on to a big run, because they just beat all the teams that they're going to be facing in the postseason.
Yeah, they could make some noise for certain, right? I mean, if you can get through this stretch right here, quick math right there, 2 games, 3 games, there's roughly, just over 10 games left, so 11 games left. You go through this schedule, you win like 7 or 8 of those things and, take over from the New York Mets. Yeah, of course. Now I'm looking at Arizona, and potentially they could do something like they did a couple of years prior. New York right now, they're just stumbling into this thing, right? Like they're we already brought it up, but their record since the All-Star break has been one of the worst in all of baseball. And this to me is one of those classic situations where, in sports, you look on paper and you go through that lineup and you go, damn, this is top to bottom, incredible, elite. But then it begs the question, can you buy a successful winning team? Or is there something to be said about the culture over there in New York? Or ultimately, and maybe it could be all of these things, right? It could be something about the culture. It could be something about how you cannot just buy a franchise. It could also be how you've invested so heavily into that starting lineup, and for whatever reason, Steve Cohen decided to kind of skimp out on the rotation, right? So there's just so many kind of areas of issue right here for this New York Mets squad. It just feels like they're not a team this season anyways built to go the distance.
Yeah, and like you're right. Like I really do love this lineup, but maybe there's thing with culture. I mean, if you're a Mets fan, let us know in the chat. Like, what does it feel like? Because as a Blue Jay fan, not trying to toot my own horn, but when I watch the Blue Jays, that team looks like they all click. They all played together for the last 5 years. They all gelled well. They had a great core. They have a lot of homegrown talent. You guys do too. But it felt like the vibes there, the culture vibes and the clubhouse vibes were a lot more immaculate. And that's why they've got each other's back every night. I don't really know what this is with the rotation. Like, I don't know if they're not gelling. Where's the veteran presence? Where's that dominant ace dude? Like, maybe it's Clay Holmes. I don't really know. But moving on, I want to talk about the San Francisco Giants as well, because we're talking a lot about the Arizona Diamondbacks being a threat. San Francisco Giants, they're also in this too. They're 2 games out. They do not have the tiebreaker over the Mets, so that's one huge thing. So essentially, they're 3 games out. But they have the quote-unquote easier schedule because you get the Diamondbacks here for 2 more games. Then you get the Dodgers. And then you have the Cardinals and the Rockies for the final stretch. This whole thing is going to come down to the final week, the final series, and everyone's going to be glued to the screens watching to see if the Giants can pull off the amazing comeback, if the Diamondbacks can too, if the Mets can hold on. I mean, hell, I don't even have it up here, but the Reds too.
I was gonna say that it's like they could throw a wrench into all of this. I mean, they're 5-5 in their last 10, so they're not playing incredible ball. They're actually just a 500 ball team.
That's crazy.
That
a 500 ball team has a chance to make the postseason this year.
I know, right? It makes me think a little bit because let's just say, for instance, Arizona goes on to get into this thing. Well, they'd probably need to get roughly 7 or 8 wins out of their schedule to do so. That would put them at 83 or 84 wins. Throwback to a couple of years ago when they walked into the playoffs at 84 wins exactly. They were the final wildcard team, and then they just happened to have the momentum at the right time, and they went all the way, right? So honestly, out of all of those guys that I'm looking at in the National League, the only one that's going to make any postseason noise at all, or isn't going to make any postseason noise at all, is the New York Mets, because I just don't see them right now as being a threat to anybody. I think that if you're a Mets fan, you've got to be thoroughly disappointed in the product that you've seen your team come out with on a day-to-day basis. This is just not a squad that's built to win, and even though you've got $300-odd million invested into them, there are still some serious holes there, and there shouldn't be when you have that much money on the books. So this offseason, like previous off seasons for New York, is once again going to have to be just an incredible spending spree, even after you went out and you got fucking Juan Soto last off season. So
that's the thing. They need to get starting pitching. I don't look as much as it's fun to turn bullpen guys into starting pitchers. Go and spend big on a big time ace. Freddie Peralta. He'll be out there. I'm pretty sure he's a free agent this year.
He's got I believe
it's an option.
It's either a player or a club. It's something like there's some type of option going on there. Well, there is a possibility he could.
If
be
he
there,
hits, you got to get him. You need to do something right now to anchor down this rotation because a guy's these unexperienced guys. Got 3 fucking prospects in there. You got to put somebody in there who's pitched before.
Exciting, right? In its own right, that is exciting. But for a squad that is built to win now, like you'd think that, okay, like maybe even you take one of those prospects and you trade him for somebody who is ready right now. You know, I'm actually kind of shocked that they didn't want to do that, because you have so much depth at the starting pitching position for future. Why not just take one of those top prospects, who are all, by the way, top 100 prospects, and flip them for somebody like a Freddie Peralta? Well, again, like somebody like a Freddie Peralta, who is playing good ball right now. I think that they missed a lot of opportunities this year, and again, I'm very curious to hear what Met fans have to say about this. But as it stands right now, I'm looking at the Mets as being done, dusted. Even if they make the postseason, they're not going far.
I'm honestly predicting that the Arizona Diamondbacks pull off a miracle and they beat all those good teams, and they get some magic, because they still got some decent guys on that squad. But Mets fans, even Diamondback fans, if you're in there, let us know your thoughts in the comments down below. Make sure to hit that like button, smash that subscribe button, and we'll catch you next time.
Cheers.